Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new to this series, let me tell you how it works. I listen to albums throughout the week, some new albums, some older albums, and I pick the ones I want to get my opinion on and review them in this video. Remember, my opinions are mine and mine only, and if you have a different opinion, comment about it, say something about it, but don't take it too serious. So now let's head on to the first album of today's video. The first album of today's video will be the Come Up Mixtape Volume 1 by J. Cole. Backstory: this album, pretty much what I was able to find about this was that it was J. Cole's debut mixtape, and that he produced around 12 of the 21 songs on the mixtape. Info from Wikipedia. Review. To start off, we had an intro, which was an intro of the album. Anyways, that led into the song named Simba, which had nice flow and good beats. After that, songs 4 through 5 had great flow and nice beats, while Throw It Up had a fire-ass beat, like genuinely one of the best beats in the entire mixtape. Following that, we had 7 to 8 songs. We had songs 7 and 8, which both had great lyrics and good beat to them. Plain was either a skit or an insert, which makes sense because he was supposed to be talking like a record studio trying to get to a record studio was trying to sign him, and J. Cole was an up-and-coming artist. Then after that, songs 11 through 13 all had their standout moments. Either they had great beats, great lyrics, or in Dead President's case, it had both. Finally, songs 15 to 18 were all a lead up to becoming more calmer-ish songs to end off the mixtape. For the debut album, it was amazing, and it had everything to make J. Cole make sure people would know who he is, and he did that. It had some down parts, but outside those 3 songs, this album was very nice to listen to. And my standout songs are Little Ghetto and Rags to Riches. After that, we have The Warm Up by J. Cole. Backstory of the album. This would be the mixtape to help J. Cole get signed to Roc Nation, and this would also be the same mixtape to make Jay-Z decide to sign him. He also decided to call it The Warm Up due to him saying that he was practicing more for his follow-up mixtape, and that this would also be his first basketball-related project. Info found from Wikipedia and Genius.com. Review. This was an amazing mixtape by J. Cole. It was filled with a great listening experience and a mixtape I understood why this helped J. Cole get signed by the label he got signed to. He also had amazing beats, great production throughout the entire album. Lyrics were also amazing and had amazing lyrical flow throughout the entire project as well. Lastly, my standout songs are Grown Simba, I Get Up, and Dreams. Up next, we have War and Peace Volume 1 by Ice Cube. War Disc. Backstory of this album. This album is part 1 of 2 from a part 1 of a 2-part album series. That is all I was able to find about this album online, by the way. Info from Genius.com and Wikipedia. Review. To begin with this 2-part album series, we have War and Peace Volume 1 War Disc. Throughout this entire project, you can hear amazing beats, good production that went into this album. It's something I've come to expect from Ice Cube now, and it's great to see that so far he has managed to keep up with the great beats and great production, and it shows that he cares about every project, and this one is no different. Throughout the project, there were many, many songs with great lyrics, and there are also some songs like, for example, If I Was Effing You, where I did not like the lyrics at all, because, I don't know, it's just not the type of lyrics I messed with, really. There are also many great features in this project, and the feature that did stand out to me the most was Mr. Cop. I don't know how to say his name. Mr. Short Cop, CHOP. Overall, this was an album with many great beats, and it was nicely produced all around, with lyrics being 50-50 for me, but I still recommend this album to you guys, and I'm ready to see what the Peace Disc has in store for me. My standout songs are Dr. Frankenstein and War and Peace. Up next is War and Peace Volume 2, Peace Disc by Ice Cube. Backstory of this album. This would be part 2 of a 2-part album series that he had going at the time, and it would be his last album under the record label Priority label after a long stretch of time with them. That is all the info I was able to find. Info from Wikipedia and Genius.com. Review. Now that we made it to the Peace Disc, this one felt a lot more calm compared to the War version, which low-key makes sense as War and Peace is times of calm. Of course, it's not calm as in like SZA calm, but the album is still on the calmer side of albums for Ice Cube albums. Just like the last album, it had great beats and okay production. I feel like production on the War version was a little bit better. There are also a lot more features on this album than the War version, but all the features still did a good job. And the standout feature for me for sure was Miss Holly. Just as well, the lyrics were amazing and went very well with the album, and the flow throughout the entire project was very nice and perfect, and they never felt too rushed or too slow or anywhere out of place. Overall, the War album was I read that wrong. Overall, this was an amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't read. Overall, this album was amazing beats. It had great features and perfect flow throughout it. I do still think that the production was better on the War version, and I do feel like the War version was just that much better. But the Peace version is still very good on its own, and I feel it's something that you should definitely listen to. Listening to both parts of this album series is something you have to do at some point in your life. My standout songs are You Ain't Gotta Lie, Until We Rich, and Gotta Be. Up next, we have The Importance of Self Belief by McKinley Dixon. Background of the album. I was unable to get anything about this album. Websites I used to try and get information were Wikipedia, Genius.com, and Apple Music. Review. This album was a great listen. The jazz parts felt very relaxing and soothing, and even the songs that were not jazz related, we still had a nice beat to it and a good change of pace for the album for those parts. The interlude, God's Land Part 2, was great as it was talking about standing up for women of color because it's what's right and not just because it was someone's mother, daughter, wife, or sister. It was a great message had for the album. Lyric wise, it felt okay, and I'm saying this due to the beat standing out a lot more than the lyrics, and sometimes even being louder than the lyrics itself. The final song, But Still Tomorrow, was also great, and it had different type of sounds and beats mixed well with each other, and they complemented each other very well. Lastly, this album sadly did not have any standout songs for me. Up next, we have For My Mama and Anyone Who Looked Like Her by McKinley Dixon. Backstory of the album. This is an album where he was talking about how to deal with grief and how to move on with your life in a positive way. It also does try to touch on the topics of racism and anxieties. Info from Genius.com and Wikipedia. Review. To start off, the album cover art is amazing. I don't usually talk about the covers, but I guess since the Grammys now do a best album cover of the year, it is something I plan to add to my reviews going forward. The cover is very well drawn and it fits the title of the album very well. The album was also very well written as the lyrics are amazing and they go on about how you can deal with different situations in certain ways. The song's Protective Styles had the best lyrics of all the songs, and it even had a great message tied to it. I did forget to write down the lyrics, but from what I do remember, it was talking about trying to get therapy, and that is something I do personally believe in, and everyone should try it at least once. Because remember, if you are feeling a certain way, always talk to anyone before you do anything. Beat and production wise, this album was as good as well with any other beat of going along with the lyrics, and it didn't overpower the lyrics. I made sure that you knew that the lyrics were what he wanted you to focus on, and not spending too much time focusing on the beats. Unlike his last album, where I do think that the beats did stand out a lot more than the lyrics itself. And my standout song was Make a Poet Black. Up next, we have Wuthering Heights by Charli XCX. Background of the album. While Charli was pouring her previous album of Brat, she was starting to have issues with not being able to create any new songs, and she was starting to feel that she would never be able to make music again. She would eventually receive a text from Emerald Fennell to record songs for her adaptation of Wuthering Heights. And after Charli saw it, she felt inspired and had ideas to create, which would lead her to make an entire soundtrack for it. She would start to tease the album all the way back in November of 2025, which would lead to the release of the album in February of 2026. Info found from Wikipedia, Genius.com, and Apple Music. Review. Alright, yeah, so I'm gonna be honest with y'all real quick. I had no idea this was an album. I mean, that sounds so stupid. I had no idea this was a soundtrack until I was doing the research for this album. One thing is I don't like reviewing soundtracks for shows and movies I don't watch, and this would fall into that category because I've never even heard of this show or movie. I am willing to do reviews for stuff like F1 and the Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse films because I've seen those and I know what they are. But for this one, I was kind of already forced to do it as one, I had already written it down in my notebook for the reviews, and two, I did purchase the vinyl. So that's another reason, and another reason I don't like doing soundtracks for reasons I said, due to me not knowing, how they would fit into the show and movie. And, I feel like it just isn't nice for me to do this. But like I said, I am having to be forced to do this as I already did, my what's it called? My pre-review steps, and I did purchase the vinyl. So please take my next review with a grain of salt. Anyways, to start off, you can tell that this is very, very different from her last album of rap, as the beats are still electric-ish, but they could also lean more towards a classical music type of beat, if you can catch what I'm trying to throw. The lyrics are okay. Overall, nothing that would be stuck in your head 24/7. Vocal wise, it was amazing. She sounded amazing, and in some parts it even felt heavenly. Oh, and the cover is most likely something related to the movie, so I won't be reviewing it due to me not knowing anything about the film. Overall, this album feels very different from her last project, and the beats and lyrics did fall apart for me, but her voice was very natural singing, and probably one of the best that I've heard from her, and might be my only reason for revisiting it in the future. And my standout song is Chains of Love. Up next, we have Icon by Brent Faiyaz. Backstory of the album. Faiyaz started to work on the album in 2025 and had an initial release for it to come out in September of 2025. As the album was being ready to drop the night before, he would pull the plug on the album and even stop working on other album related things, as he wanted the album to show a range of concepts, emotions, and experiences. We would finally get the album in February of 2026. Info from Wikipedia, Genius.com, and Apple Music. Review. This album was amazing. Start off with the cover. It's just a simple face close up. It's just a simple picture, a close up of his face. I'ma assume nothing out of place. Something done millions of times, and something so it passes for real. Now the album. The beats are amazing, and due to this being an R&B and soul album, you already know that it was going to be coming throughout the entire project. Vocals are also very good and very well done. Lyrics also had an A plus for me, except for the song "Strangers." I did not like that song at all, but I did like the message that it had at the very end. Overall, this was a great R&B album by Brent, and you can tell that he did manage to include a range of concept and emotions into this album very nicely. Lyrically, this was a great album, and outside the song I mentioned, there's nothing to complain about. Finally, my standout songs are Wrong Faces, Have to, and Other Style. Yo, Stat, this is how you know I put my heart and soul into this shit. I got a nosebleed about editing, bruh. I'm out here bleeding out for y'all, and y'all won't even subscribe. How you do me like this, man? I'm bleeding for y'all. I'm bleeding for y'all on the job, and it's funny. I'm opening the job application now because I said it. I didn't realize. I'm bleeding for y'all, and y'all won't even subscribe. Not even a like. Come on now, yo. I'm out here bleeding out for y'all. You ain't man. All right. Up next, I need y'all to stick with me real quick. One, I'm done nose bleeding. Thank you for asking. And two, I forgot to write down the backstory of these next albums I listened to. Right. So I need you to stick with me because I'm going to be ready. I'm going to like be summing up what the Wikipedia page said. So if it's wrong, that's on me. I'm sorry, but I completely forgot about it. I forgot to finish the script. That's on me. So from what I quickly read over, what the Wikipedia said. Well, first let me introduce the album. Up next, we have Casino by Baby Keem. So pretty much the backstory of this album, from what I'm able to see, is that he announced the release. He announced the album on February 10th, 2026 via Instagram, revealing the album cover and also announcing a tour. And and shortly after that, he also announced a limited edition vinyl release, which of course your boy got immediately. And during that time, he also shared a short video by the title "Boom Eye" on YouTube, and introducing his cousin Kendrick Lamar, and directed by a couple other people. The album cover uses a baby photo of Keem as a child, and the entire album is pretty much based around the aesthetic echoes of a old style casino vibe of Las Vegas. That's the sum up I'm giving y'all for backstory. Like I said, I forgot to finish the script. That's on me. If any of that was wrong, I apologize. Anyways, review. To start off the album cover, to be for real, it's just a basic close up of a younger self, and there's nothing wrong about it. Now, sure, it's a basic album cover, but it always seems to work. Especially something like this, I think it works out very well, and with how the album was, it worked very well. To start off, we need to talk about the flow throughout the album. Honestly, it was incredible and not what I was expecting. And if I'm being honest with you, this was some of the best flow wise that I've heard by an artist in such a long time. Next is the beats. They did not miss at all either. They were loud and fit perfectly, and nothing felt out of place with the beats. Whoever the producer was, they did an amazing job on this album. I also did love how there are many types of rhythms on the album that make the album feel refreshing and not too repetitive. Like always, there was a Kendrick Lamar feature, and I'm not saying it was bad, but I didn't really vibe with the songs that he was on. So I won't be too harsh on him, but the Too Short feature was amazing. I will say that, and I think it was the best feature from the entire project. Overall, this was an amazing project by Baby King, and amazing for a comeback album for after a long hiatus. And it was something very well for him to do. and something that I think people will be throwing in for album of the year later down the line. Beats and beats were amazing, and rhythms were great and refreshing, and the flow and lyrics fit perfectly with pretty much every single song. While Kendrick might not have been the best feature, it was still cool to see him on the album. And my standout songs are Casino, Birds and the Bees, House Money, and Circus Circus Freestyle. Also, shout out LV, my birthplace, my hometown, Vegas! Okay, up next we have Spiral Staircases by Larry June, Currency, and The Alchemist. So, I wasn't able to find anything online. The websites I tried using to find information are Wikipedia, Genius.com, Apple Music, and StereoGum.com. Now let's move on to the review wise. To start off with the cover, it's simple. It's a simple cover that goes along with the name of the album, so it passed. If you are a fan of the channel, you already know what's next. The Alchemist fucking cooked on the beats and production. This was amazing. The Alchemist always cooks. He has yet to miss production and beat wise. He is yet to miss. I don't care what anybody says. Anyways, this was a surprise to me because the entire week I had no idea bro was dropping. I only found out about the album dropping around an hour before midnight hit, and I'm always happy to hear new Alchemist music. Larry June and Currency also did put in their parts. They both had amazing flow and they were able to bounce off each other very well, showing that they have amazing chemistry with each other. Overall, this was a very well-produced album by The Alchemist and amazing flow by Larry June and Currency. I hope this trio does make more stuff together sooner rather than later and something a little bit longer next time, as this was only an 8-song album, which technically does fall under the EP label. My standout songs are Everything Allocated and by Los Santos. And yeah, like I said, this was a surprise album for me because like I had no idea until I opened up Instagram, right? Because I only knew about the Baby Keem album, but I opened up Instagram and I went like, let me see, is there someone else dropping? So maybe I can include myself in a video. And then that's where I saw that, what's their name? I think they're called Bars. The Bars page on Instagram. They had their weekly, drops dropping tonight. And then I saw The Alchemist. And I was like, you know what? We gotta spin The Alchemist. We gotta keep up with him. Because as you all know, we have got, well, when I started doing these YouTube reviews, I was already like halfway through The Alchemist, but so many videos, especially at the very beginning, that had The Alchemist in them. So it's always nice to have Alchemist come back on the channel. Up next, the final song of, oh my gosh, I hate, ooh, I'm keeping this in, but ooh, I hate that so much, how easily I fell for it. So if you have an Apple phone, if you use the Apple Sports app, if you're a sports fan and you have an Apple phone and you're not using Apple Sports, you're actually so dumb because it's one of the best ones. Where outside the real sports app, Apple Sports is probably one of the best, right? Because it throws if you know how Apple phones have the live notifications. So if I got caught so off guard because I saw a live notification. I look over and it's the NASCAR race that's about to start. But for some reason, I thought it was a F1 race, and I was about to be like, I missed. What do you mean an F1 race starting? Oh my gosh! But I see. Oh my god! That. Ow! Wow! That hurt. I need F. We still don't get F1 until next month. Damn, bro! That caught me off guard badly. Anyways, let's start off with what I was saying. Up next, the final album of today's video is Wonderful by Skywater. I wasn't able to find any information about this album online. The websites I tried using were Wikipedia, Genius.com, Apple Music, and what's the website called? I just looked at the website. What is it? And allmusic.com. Up now, review. Let's start off with the album cover. Yeah, the album cover did me dirty, not gonna lie. I was expecting a calmer album as I did do the mistake of judging the album based off the cover before my first listen. I've never heard these guys before, but I will say I did enjoy a good amount of the beats in the album. Some of the songs did have very good vocals, but for the most part, for most of the songs, it was just loud and no-face beats. I will not lie, I was writing this at 3:30 a.m. and it's making me feel insane for listening to this album, but that's what I get for judging it by the cover. I will say this was a nice album to hear, and I do think that if I heard this anytime throughout the regular day, I may have been more judgmental. So low key, it did work out because I was a lot more nicer with my reviewing. Then I feel like when I'm like more sleepy, or I'm a little bit more nicer when I'm doing reviews. So that's cool. But yeah, overall, this is a loud and in-your-face album with good beats on most of the songs, and the beats will 100% overpower the vocals in like 70% of the songs. But in the few songs where you can hear the vocals, you will realize how good they sound. And my standout song was Blink Twice. And before we head on to standout albums of the week, I quickly want to give a special thanks to Medkit Mystery Box for becoming a new partner of the channel. What are Medkit mystery boxes, you may ask? Good question. They are mystery boxes specified for gamers as they have the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, Xbox consoles, Nintendo Switch, and even PC. They will send you. You can either choose between month-to-month subscription or just a one-time purchase. The box you're seeing in the background is the January box, and it does change month to month. And there are times where they will even do special collaborations with companies, so you will receive special items. They can send you stuff up for accessories to improve your gaming experience, gaming related supplies to decorate your room, and they will send you goodies like chips, candy, and G Fuel packets for you to try at home. If you are interested in signing up for Medkit Mystery Boxes, or you just want to do a one-time purchase, use my affiliate link down below, or just use code TrainDavid when checking out. Once again, thank you to Medkit Mystery Boxes for becoming a new partner of the channel. And now let's head back to the standout albums of the week. And now it's time for standout albums of the week. Rah. So, who will get the honor to be the first standout album for this week, you may ask? Well, it goes to War and Peace Disc 2 Peace Edition by Ice Cube. This album was incredible. I enjoyed it very much. Even though I did think that the beats on the War version did sound a bit better, this album was still it. It had it. It was amazing. Something I recommend you listen to. Like I said, you should listen to both parts, but if you only want to listen to one part, the Peace version is by far better. It was very nice, a very enjoyable album. It's not my most favorite Ice Cube project, but it's definitely up there. This album was great. It was very fun to listen to, very nice to listen to, and very nice to hear the messages that he had in the album. So yeah, War and Peace, Peace Edition, this too, by Ice Cube, got a standout album of the week. But who will be with it? Who will be with it? Who gets to stand next to Ice Cube and standout album of the week? Well, your second standout album of the week goes to Casino by Baby Keem. If it wasn't obvious enough, this album was great. After hiatus from Baby Keem, this was a great comeback album. It only did have one skip, in my opinion, which is why it had the one skip, which was that one Kendrick song. I forgot the name of it, but it was the one where Kendrick was featured on. Not the fuck, what's the name of it? I'm allowed to curse now, right? It's way beyond the like 2 minute thing, right? What is it? Good Flirts. That song with it had Kendrick on it. That's the only mission in the entire project, if you ask me. I saw that. This project was amazing. It was incredible. Flow, beats, production, rhythm. Oh my! This thing had it all. It had it all. And it's continuing to show why 2026 is like going on an insane album run. Like, if you are not into hip hop music, this is the year. There is so many good things. And there are thousands of other albums that I'm probably not listening to because it would be impossible for me to listen to all of them, right? Like, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The only reason I was able to listen to as many new albums this week is because I didn't upload last week, so I had a lot extra time on my hands for albums. But yeah, it was incredible. This album was great, and luckily, I was able to still get a limited edition vinyl because I wanted to give it the chance out, especially after the Charli XCX thing. I was like, okay, let me listen to this album first before I go ahead and buy it. Oh, I immediately bought it afterwards. Oh, it was crazy. It was a great album. Definitely something, like I said, definitely something that will be competing for album of the year. I don't know. So far, album of the year race is looking very, very tight. Right, I do have my own rankings, but I don't want to show this off yet. But so far, this is in top 5 albums of the year. This album is great. It's amazing. It's gonna be very, very hard to beat if you are a different artist. But if you haven't heard this album yet, go listen to it. The hype you're hearing about it, it's all there. But yeah, those were your standout albums of the week. And it is time for Yap Time. I'm gonna keep this short because the video's already very, very long. So yeah, for those of you that don't know or didn't want to see my community know, I pretty much just had to not upload last week's video and instead upload this week because it was mainly due to my fact that my dog, he went to surgery and I just wasn't in the right mood to review albums. As you probably saw in one of the earlier reviews, I think it was for one of the J. Cole albums, it was a very, very basic review. But that's just because I wasn't able to focus on reviews and I decided to just take the week off. And it worked out. I was able to get back, focus on reviewing, and going crazy. And that was it. Um, but yeah, my dog, he's been recovering. He's been doing good now. So that's been going along as well. And trying to think what else I'm trying to say. There's another winter storm heading New York, and the worst of the storm is going to hit Long Island, which is the part of New York I live. Looking at my window, it's snowing insanely hard already. But there's not much I can do there. And going forward, I think unless it's for an artist who I know I 100% like all their stuff, I think I'm just gonna wait to listen to the album first before I buy the vinyl because that Charli XCX on is really making me regret my purchase. But you live, you learn. I did purchase Baby Keem one; it's on the way, so that's cool too. We have that. I'm trying to think what else is there for Yap Time. Oh, gaming content is coming back soon. So, I don't know when it's going to be uploaded because I still need to edit the entire fucking thing. But gaming content is coming back. Gaming videos, actual editing. You'll see it when it gets uploaded. And I'm trying to think what else, what else, what else, what else. Yeah, I can't really think of what else. Um, I don't know. I feel like this week's been okay. Not much crazy stuff. Outside the same, same old fuck eyes. Breaking news segment. Like some like and big, very important cartel leader in Mexico just got killed. Like a very important leader. And right now, Mexico is in ruins, bro. Dude, the cartel is like doing everything right now to like make the Mexican military pay back, which is crazy, bro. Like, oop, I dropped my phone. But that's crazy. Prayers to everyone in Mexico. They deal a lot with the cartels, but it's just like any other government. It's corrupt. There's not much that the people can do, sadly. And prayers to the people out there. And but yeah, like I said, gaming content is coming back in a way. Like I said, I still don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it, but it'll be done in a way. And we also never mind. I completely forgot what I was gonna say. It's not even related. But yeah. Oh, there's also something else I'm trying to do. I don't don't take my word for this, but I want to do like an anime ranking of like the winter season because I've watched most of them. The problem is I'm so far back. Like for some of these already on episodes 9, and I'm still like on episode 2. Like unless I can like find a way to fully grind out these animes before they finish, um, that'll be like that. And something I'm gonna try doing too is I want to try and finish like my reviews, like listening to the music on Fridays, right? Like as soon as the new albums drop, finish then. So then that way I can have Saturdays always open, so I can record gaming content. That's the plan, right? It all depends if I actually commit and put it to effect. But there's that, and that's pretty much it. I don't have nothing else that I can think of at the moment. I'll probably remember something as soon as I upload the video, but whatever. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out all the links down below. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, do whatever it is you want to do. And I'll see you all whenever I upload again. Goodbye.